What is up, guys? Back with another video. This is going to be a live burner scrolling video where I'm going to literally scroll right now and tell you guys exactly what I'm thinking in the moment about every product I see on my burner page. This is the product criteria that is optimal for longevity within the space and creating consistent income with organic dropshipping. Number one on the criteria, does the product have a wow factor? This is the most important factor for doing in-hand organic dropshipping, because without a wow factor, it's going to be pretty hard to go viral. Number two, does the product have a high perceived value? With organic dropshipping, people tend to run cheap, tacky products, and that is all they're seeing on their burner page. But the products that we want to be interacting with and liking on our burner page is going to be high perceived value products that we can actually brand and products that have potential longevity. Number three, does it have a lot of marketing angles and movements that we can do with the product? The more marketing angles and the more movements we have, the better we're going to be at creating content. The more content ideas we can come up with and the more creative we can be. If we have a showcase product with minimal movement, it's going to be pretty hard to go viral consistently. We might get one format that works, showcasing the product, but after that, it's going to be pretty hard to go viral. So now we understand the 3-step product criteria for longevity within the space. I'm going to jump on my burner and show you guys this in action. Let's start off with the first product, right? First product is a cool aesthetic wallet or cigarette case. It's initially intended to be a cigarette case, but now people are rebranding them to be cool aesthetic vintage wallets. This product's cool. It's being ran already by a couple drop shippers, but it has that wow factor. It has the aesthetic. The only factors that it lacks in would be the high perceived value. Like, it's just a little piece of tin. It's not really crazy brandable. There's also very limited movements you can do with it. You can be creative with what you put in it, which is where people are finding that creative freedom. And they're taking it in different marketing angles, like putting headphones in it and putting like money in it and rings. So there's different marketing angles you can go with it. There's also guys running it, girls running it, different aesthetics, different vibes. But I do think it does lack content ideas. Overall, I think it's worth a test. Like, there's always potential with these Y2K type products, kind of like the Chrome Buds. Similar vibe, just maybe the perceived value and the need for it isn't really as high, but I would still say it's a decent product. Okay, next product on our page is this cowboy set. I think it's a belt. Oh, but there's also a ring. It's just a bunch of like jewelry for like cowboy, like outback kind of aesthetic. I think the perceived value is there. It's very giftable. The way they've done content is very creative. The backgrounds are cool and clean, and they haven't just resorted to doing stitch clips or guilt trip. I've seen this product being run guilt trip, like My Dying Business, so respect to this guy for not doing that. And he seems to be going viral. I wonder if he's still posting. Yeah, he's still posting. So one of you boys might want to hop on this, do your own take on it. It's like a gift bundle, good for coming into Q4. But I mean, he never does a text hook, which is interesting. Hasn't even experimented with text hooks. He just unboxes it every single time. Not a terrible product, not a terrible product. Let's move on to this one. Peak conversation starter. All right, well, the lighter didn't light. This is like just one of those aesthetic products. I don't think the perceived value is there. Nothing to build a brand around. It's just a lighter. I mean, cool lighters have been around forever. Yeah, I have seen lighters do well, but I don't think this variant is amazing, to be honest. Right, this is the type of product research you guys need to get into, right? This is like an ad, but you can still run this if you find a similar product. It's a film camera, but a digital camera style. I don't really know much about cameras, so I'm not going to go too deep into this product, but if you know about cameras, if you think the perceived value is there, if you think you could run it and find a variant, I would recommend. But once again, this is an ad, not necessarily a burner product. My account must just be primed to like Y2K stuff right now, because we got the exact same wallet again and again. Here we go, this is kind of cool. All right, a product like this is very brandable actually. It has the high perceived value and it's very aesthetic, especially for collectors. So the people who are in this niche have that purchasing power. It has the wow factor, which is very cool. And there's a couple movements you can do with it. It is maybe a bit more showcasey. If you could source a cheaper version of this, it could be worth a test. All right, next product. This is peak burner scrolling, right? It's not necessarily dropshipping content. It's just some guy reviewing a bunch of products. It's not like, 3, 2, 1. It's not other people's dropshipping content. This is where you find real banger products. However, in this instance, I wouldn't recommend running this product. It's just like, it's rep car keys. It's not really a dropshipping product, but it's a good example of like where you could potentially find products. But let's move on to the next product. This shit is sick. Yo. All right, this guy's been in the space for a while doing holographic products. Yeah, like for literally years. But I think he just might have come out with like a new variant, unless I just haven't seen this before. But it's an entire monitor display that's holographic, which is pretty crazy. Oh, I'm assuming you can't actually like do anything on it. It's more just for aesthetics. And it's a new marketing angle he's taken. See, a product like this has infinite marketing angles. I mean, you could market it to like any single niche because it's just, you can put whatever you want on the holographic. So if you run it up exactly like this guy, you're probably not going to have much success. But if you run it in a different marketing angle, you could 100% print with this product. The perceived value is also like pretty high, and I'm sure you get a good margin on this product. Not too sure how much you'd source it for, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good product. Next, we have these rings that look like watches. They're very aesthetic, Y2K, passionate, culty niche that will buy anything that looks aesthetic. They are a little bit showcasey. However, if you do get multiple variants like this guy, I'm sure there's a lot of content you can come up with, a lot of aesthetic stuff that you can do with the product. And I think it does have quite a high perceived value, or at least you'll have a good margin on the product, because I'm sure these aren't that expensive to source, but I'm sure they can sell for a lot if you position your brand as a Y2K, more expensive brand. Yeah, products like this, the music players, they're not bad, but they're pretty dropshippy now. I mean, everyone comes out with new variants every single day, I swear. Like there's fridge magnet versions, there's this and that. It's not a terrible product because you can target any niche, which means there's heaps of marketing angles you can go with it. There is a couple movements you can do with it and a couple ways to showcase it, which is good. It's actually a good product. I feel like the problem with this product is that it's like a burner trap. If you post something like this, it's going to go to burner straight away. But I think it would convert decent and make a decent amount of money because it's such a culty niche. If you're a Lana Del Rey fan or whatever, you'd like probably repost, share, and probably buy. If you're like a consumer, decent product, but I wouldn't run it personally. See, this product's pretty cool. It's a custom product, so you probably couldn't source it. But it's like, instead of just doing a Y2K lighter, it actually doubles up a niche. So when you find products, a good way to know if you're gonna have a super passionate audience and like a really high conversion rate is if you can almost double niche something. So in this example, the double niche would be people who smoke and have lighters and people who play pool. But the thing is about that ideal customer profile that we're targeting is that they are going to be super passionate about both of these things. So the second they see two things in one product, two of their favorite things in one product, they're probably going to buy because they're like, no way, that's crazy. Like that's literally so me. And then they'll buy. So definitely when you find products, think about like, how can you double up the niche almost? This product's kind of cool. I mean, it's just like a tech jacket. Clothing is always going to be saturated, but I mean, there's a lot of movements you can do with this product. I think it just doesn't really have no one needs this jacket. From watching the video, I don't really understand why this jacket has any other benefit to another jacket that might have like installed heating in it or like some hidden features that are actually cool. Whereas this one doesn't have that wow. Like, there's no need for me to buy this. All right, a product like this GTA lamp, it's not a bad product, like passionate and niche kind of, like gamers, but the perceived value and the need for this product is like no one needs this shit. I don't think you could sell it for that much. It's kind of just a cheap, tacky thing. I mean, the thing about this product, it's hella viral. There's crazy wow factor. So you can go viral, you could probably get 20 million views, but it won't convert the way I would want a product to convert. But overall, if this was imagine this was an untapped product, I would run it probably just to make a quick bag, but like it's not something you're gonna have longevity with. And also it's saturated now, so you couldn't run it. All right, this video is like boy apartment finds, which it can be a good place to find products. But the problem with these, a lot of them are like those Amazon style problem solving products, which is very hard to go viral with consistently. Maybe with like a product, like a video like this, where it's more savable and there's a lot of different products in one video, it will go viral. But if you're trying to just sell the one product, it's going to be hard to go viral with just the product alone, because there just isn't crazy wow factor. Like it's an Amazon style problem solving product that you just don't really want to be selling for organic. All right, this is Lego albums. This is like a 10 out of 10 product. I know people who've made a lot of money with this product. There is so many movements, marketing angles, high perceived value, wow factor, insanely passionate, culty-like niches, aesthetics, so many ways to go viral, so many text hooks, so many audios, so many everything. This is like a pretty 10 out of 10 product and a great example of branded organic dropshipping. This product can be sourced. This is a banger product. He's still posting, so he must still be making good money. And these guys have been posting for a while, so this is like a brand. This is like an organic brand. It might be hard to compete now, but this is like a perfect example of something I would teach you and something I would want you to do. I would want you to create this longevity-based organic dropshipping brands, ethical dropshipping. But moving on from that, Facebook market. I mean, this is pretty sick. That record player is crazy, but it's Sony. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to source it unless you could find a similar version to sell as your own brand. But it does have the crazy wow factor, crazy high perceived value, cult-like niche. People who buy vinyls are like normally culty fans of some music artist, and they love that aesthetic, so they will impulse purchase something like this. But once again, don't know if it's sourceable. If you can source something like this, worth a test. That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is a pretty untapped niche for organic dropshipping. Something within the vinyl record niche could be super aesthetic and super cool. But once again, if you were going to film for a product like this, you would have to have the aesthetics on point. These products, like these Minecraft products, they go viral, but the perceived value is just not there. It's not going to convert like crazy. I just don't think it's very brandable, to be honest. But it definitely can go viral and work. And you'd also run out of ideas very quickly. It's more of a showcase product. Right, this product's pretty cool. I could do a bunch of niches because music is such a culty audience, culty niche. You could definitely utilize. Like, they would think this is sick, displaying their CD as it's playing. Pretty cool, pretty unheard of. Has good wow factor. Yeah, I mean, everyone's looking for the link, but it is targeting a bit bad with these random ass languages. So maybe it's not the best product to run. All right, let's have a look at this product. Oh, it can be used as a second monitor. See, something like this is like, there's no real need for it. Like, yeah, it's cool because it's like in this like vintage aesthetic niche, but there's no real need for this product. Like, I don't think it would convert that high, to be honest. Probably hard to source. Wouldn't run this. Alright, what is this? This is like a video about like board games, a board game table. Let's see, so obviously you couldn't dropship a table. You couldn't necessarily dropship this board game, but you could take inspiration from this. Like, this is like a real passionate niche. Like these, I don't know what they're called, like these maybe an RPG fan. So obviously, if this video has gone viral, there is a lot of potential to run a product in this niche. And if you're an RPG fan, even more potential because you understand the niche. So maybe you run your own RPG board game, or there's a little device you can think of that you could utilize and like almost create your own product, bring your own product to the market. These are the sort of culty, passionate niches you want to target. Even though like you couldn't sell anything in this video directly, it can give you inspiration. You can go on AliExpress. Maybe you're in this niche. You understand what there is a need for in this niche. All right, unfortunately, the SD card did cut off there because I just filmed so much content that weekend. So yeah, I'm going to get a bunch of content to you guys out soon. The point I was trying to get across was that with these passionate culty niches that you see on your burner page, you might not be able to directly use the product you've seen. For example, we couldn't sell a table for RPG games or a board game like that is that big, but we can use that as inspiration. We know that is a super passionate culty niche. As you can see by the comments and the likes on that video, it was super engaging. So we can utilize that and be like, how can we run a product within that niche? So then we could go to AliExpress and do some burner scrolling within that niche on AliExpress. So the burner doesn't always have to be directly to find products. We can use that as inspiration. You always have to be thinking more holistically when you're scrolling.
You're not just looking for products, you're looking for inspiration for everything, for content ideas, products that we could find later on AliExpress, for niches. We have to see how other people are creating content. It's like a big place to find inspiration, and we always have to be actively thinking. So if you want to join a group of people all with that same goal, make sure you join the Discord. It's in the link in the description. That's where everyone shares their wins. It's where I host calls weekly to teach you guys everything I know about organic dropshipping, and it's where you can just stay motivated, ask questions so you don't reach any bottlenecks, and someone will always be there to answer your questions. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.